World's End Harem is latest in the trend of poo shooting, dumpster fire, controversial anime to raise its head. Now, Bleach isn't about a toilet cleaner, and Blue Period, weirdly enough, isn't about a chick with a medical condition, but World's End Harem, or Shuumatsu no Harem, or that time I got reincarnated as myself and used my dick to save the world, is one of the very few times I have a product that is exactly as advertised. A bizarre series that in itself is pretty fucking weird. But what makes this even weirder is that this series has been so popular and so successful that it spawned multiple spin-off manga, such as World's End Harem, but now it's one woman spread across a world of men, and World's End Harem, but now it's an isekai. Oh no, those are goblins. Shit. The current airing anime is so full of hentai physics, hentai girls, a B-movie plot, and just enough of an isekai protagonist that stands as one of the greatest power moves in anime history, somehow blurring that fine line between typical Japanese jack-off material and a wholesome family viewing. Mushoku Tensei doesn't have shit on this, it stands at the very peak of perversion. But with this great power comes great responsibility in creating a series that's this ecchi and this lewd. Hentai. It's basically hentai. Anyway, basically it means that there's going to be groups of people with blue hair that are going to have a problem with it. It also means that Crunchyroll decided to license this, and just hours before it aired in the fall of 2021, they pulled it for a content re-evaluation, which basically means that they copped out and realized, wait a minute, is everything in this just titty? Oh, yes sir, you licensed this, everything is titty.
Okay, blur it all the titty.
Raw eat all, but this is the whole point.
I don't care, I said blur it all.
Meanwhile,
Great. How the fuck am I supposed to jack off to this? Hi, my name is Ben, and today we're looking at the latest entry into My Parents Will Probably Disown Me for Watching This Side of the Internet. Hey, if you've already seen the first episode, feel free to skip to this point in the video. When you have a title that's self-explanatory as World's End Harem, anyone over the age of 10 can basically work out what's going to happen. Okay, so there's going to be some 2D anime titties, some really questionable scenes, the world is going to be on the brink of collapse, and the main character is going to have a lot of... No, what the fuck? He's not going to shoot any of them? The main character is this guy, Reito Mizuharu, mainly exists as a self-insert for the audience, and that's it. Really. Anyway, long story short, Mizuharu is diagnosed with a dangerous disease, so in an attempt to extend his life is put into a cryogenic chamber for 4 to 5 years. But before he enters his deep sleep, he decides to confess to the girl that he likes, she likes him back, and he enters his deep freeze as a fucking Sigma. All of this in the first 3 minutes of the very first fucking episode. How many chapters in Rent a Girlfriend? So fast forward 4 to 5 years and 10 Fast and Furious movies later, Mizuharu wakes up to a team of female scientists to find out that a killer virus known as the MK virus has effectively killed all the men on Earth. And after that, it's pretty straightforward. Mizuharu is somehow immune to a virus that he's never encountered and is basically told, fuck the world. They even provide him and the other men that wake up with an agent that will effectively pimp out whomever they choose. Everything is literally put on a plate right in front of him. So naturally you think he'd do what most real men would do and do a split to save the world because he's a real man, and because that's exactly what all the real men who say that 2D is better than 3D in the comment section on Crunchyroll said that they would also do. Yeah, so I couldn't find any comments that actually say that, so here's one that just looks fucked up.
I would have had 10 orgies already.
Now, does he do anything that's expected of him to save the world? Fuck no, he doesn't. He says, fuck humanity, Uno reverse, I'm going to save myself for the girl I confessed to all that time ago. Now, obviously, a decision like this would cause massive amounts of backlash from people that have never seen hentai. But this is actually a very good move from the author because it means that the series can actually veer off from becoming just another hentai or a doujin and actually develop a fucking plot. And actually try to create some sort of interesting and cohesive narrative unlike Rent a Girlfriend. A narrative that after reading through most of the manga, I realized, holy shit, this is addictive as fuck. And it's really not for the sort of reason you think. Kind of. Now I could try and break this down and convince you that the story is this super meaningful journey and how the characters interact is amazing, but this ain't it. They literally have a lolly dropkick and knock out a fucking bear in the second episode. Because what the story does instead, however, is use some of the most tried and tested methods of hooking your attention of all time. Sex and Floyd Mayweather. Sex sells. In fact, it sells so good is the main reason why Jeff and Bill were such good friends, and why an unskilled 20-year-old can take home more than 50,000 a month selling her farts in a jar. I know, bros, it's a pretty fucked up world out there. And it's also why Rent a Girlfriend's manga will probably continue to blue ball people right up to chapter 1000, because deep down people still have that burning desire to see something happen, or even a small indication or promise that something could happen in the future. It's also the main reason why word of this series can travel so fast just by word of mouth alone. Your favorite AniTubers probably talked about it to some extent. In fact, they definitely know about it. And this title alone is nigh on fucking genius, I have to give it that. With 3 simple words, it manages to completely convey every possible scenario and situation that are going to encounter throughout this anime's run. The sheer infinite amount of sexual energy that the name World's End Harem carries is enough for a monk to burst into fucking flames. Fuck, probably even enough for EDP to come out of hiding. You see, at first it catches you off the word harem, but then they throw in the end of the world, an exploit that Hollywood has been using for years to trigger that simian side of your cerebellum into thinking that there's more at stake, just to spice things up that little bit. But then they decide to completely flip the script and introduce this MC that goes against all of the degeneracy your imagination have been thinking of this whole time. This is where the second hook comes in. This is where Floyd Mayweather comes in. Because of our boy Mizuharu here says,
I have
nuts that need to burst.
Then how many episodes or chapters would there actually be? 1. Because then it just dissolves into being another hentai plot that exists for the sole purpose of skipping 15 minutes in, watching like 2.25 minutes, then deleting your history and crying in the corner of your room. Basically, we'll lose out on any of the actual story or world building that the manga actually establishes over the course of the entire series. Instead, we get the story of Mizuhara the Unbustable. A basic character could have been so much more forgettable, but through the inclusion of him refusing the bust keeps you coming back. And with the added fact that he's doing it in a world where he holds the keys to the survival of the very human race itself, only elevates your interest in his balls more and more. It somehow draws parallels with how Floyd was in his prime. Millions were tuning in because he stands as one of the greatest defensive technicians of all time. But there'd be just as many, if not more, that would tune in to see if that undefeated streak would keep on running. And this series, weirdly enough, has the same effect. You don't come back for the ecchi, you come back to see how long this dude can keep on going. You see, the story repeatedly tries to break Mizuhara, but instead of him doing all of the dirty work, it gives all of that responsibility to the tiny handful of other men that appear in the show. One is a happy-go-lucky chill dude that basically forces people to fuck him, and shit, he even tries to fuck Mizuhara's younger underage sister. And another one is a weak nurse that was bullied, but now he met his buddy, his sex slave. Another then wakes up from being frozen for 5 years to find out that he is now the sex slave to a secret cult of horny witches that live in the forest.
What?
And honestly, this shit sounds so fucking ridiculous that I can't even believe the words that I'm saying right now. This series, aside from the main character, is literally a culmination of every popular otaku sexual fantasy that has ever existed. But, and this is a big but, this means the story completes just about every fucked up and perverted taste there is, but still hold on to its unbustable golden goose. And have Mizuhara spend time searching for a cure, progressing some sort of a narrative, and actually finding himself deeper and deeper in this huge global conspiracy. Yeah, he nearly gets raped every 3 to 4 chapters, but it's what you expect from this story, because in reality it's only ever 3 black bars away from turning into a full-blown fucking hentai. Now, with the mere existence of this series, its characters, and how it got delayed, my spidey senses already told me that there are going to be hundreds of people, man, woman and child, that will watch this and have some sort of issue with it. So I've gone that extra mile and had a quick look at the Crunchyroll comments and the AnyChat forums, and it confirms my hunch. There are some people that are just down bad out there. Here is some of the absolute gold I managed to find. Of course, we have the classic already mentioned.
Gay, I would have had 10 orgies already.
I don't know how to feel about this anime yet, but I hate the MC. He has so much power, so much control, and the prick won't abuse the fuck out of it. He's a literal clown.
Now here's the absolute kicker of this comment.
But loyalty is also good.
My god, the main character's just bail ass bitch, just constantly whining.
I'm gonna be reincarnated in this anime. Where's Truckun when you need it?
Now this mark out of word sex all day, every day. The future looks bright.
You never had physical contact with a girl in your entire life.
Already had since I was in middle school. She had a really nice ass. Those were the good old days.
Haha, fucking idiot. I would have to already planet populated in no time.
You see, this is a strange dichotomy of being an anime fan. Every single time I feel like we as a community take 2 steps closer to global acceptance, a series like this will pop up just to remind me why we haven't quite reached that point just yet. And it's just exactly why birth rates are declining in most countries where dudes have triple
1 hour later.
And it's just exactly why birth rates are declining in most countries where dudes have triple monitor setups. Holy shit, that took so long to get out. Oh my god. That being said, when somebody pipes up saying, "Oh, this is just a typical male fantasy," I just have to completely disagree with that statement. World's End embodies everything that the blue-haired SJW feminist has been fighting for these last few years. More women in office? Boom, you got it. More women making breakthroughs in the workplace? Boom, you got it. Kill all men? It has it in spades. Equal pay? Ooh, yeah, about anyway, it's not even that World's End exists as something that's badly written. Fuck, there is far worse out there. But it's just that it sets the bar so low for itself that when it doesn't blow up in your face and actually tries to do something different, you kinda can't help but respect it for the tiny amount of effort to actually put into change. Now, will it cause much of the shitstorm as most anti-tubers think it will? No, they have censored the absolute shit out of this to a point where any shock value whatsoever is just non-existent. For example, here is the censored version, and here is what is covering up, and here is the cosplay anime that Crunchyroll's also airing in this same season. You can see just how terrified they were of the potential backlash. It's a controversial series, yeah, but it just doesn't have that same level of memeable fucked up shit that happens in Redo of Healer. One is so obviously a hentai that when it does actually act like a hentai, you can't be surprised that you got a fucking hentai. Whereas the others lured you in and said, "Hey, this is an anime," and then they just grabbed you by the face and, "Hey, thanks for watching. Have a really, really good day. Bye."